To start generating your statements either to paper in Office or to send them out electronically through the Clearinghouse McKesson to have them drop it, stuff it, and stamp them and mail them off for you, you want to go under the Billing menu, down to Patient Billing, and over and click on Patient Billing Wizard. We'll get to all these fields in a minute, but first I want to focus on your statements here. You have your general statement run by selecting the option up here and then dropping into paper. And of course, if I want to go out through electronically through McKesson, I'd have another box down here. If I don't, then you want to talk to Advanced MD Support to get that set up so you can check the box so all the statements will go out electronically and have the Clearinghouse generate them, stuff them, stamp them, and mail them off for you. Also, you have the second option down here to run your payment plan statements. Now, they don't run with your general statements, but they run separately. So if you have anybody on payment plans, first you would probably run your general statements and then go ahead and select your payment plans and then run those. But going back to statements, you can see also to the right is collections. This is optional here. That just means that if you have collection letters that you'd like to send out after so many statements have been sent, then you can have them going out electronically as well. The collections option in the Patient Billing Wizard here will not allow you to drop into paper. All the collection letters have to go out electronically, which means that you'll of course be paying a fee for them. If you don't want to do them electronically, but you want to generate your collection letters yourself and drop them and stuff them and stamp them in your office and not through a clearinghouse, then you want to watch the collection training video and access the collection module, which is the last yellow button here on the toolbar. Now, just for a second, there may be some of you who won't want to send any collection letters. But for those of you who do, I want you to pay attention here. So let's pretend that we want to do everything. We want to send our statements and collection letters here. What this means is that after a certain number of statements, like I said, have been sent, then collection letters will start generating, and you have to set this up. And then after so many collection letters have been sent electronically through McKesson and they send them off to the patient for you, then you can have a third and final option, which is a collection letter agency file. And what it is after the certain number of collection letters that you defined have been sent, you can have that file generated, meaning that you're writing off the account and it's going to be downloadable and editable in Microsoft Excel. You can take that spreadsheet and send it off to your collection agency and have them work the accounts. That's all it does. So after so many statements, send collection letters. After so many collection letters have been sent, then go ahead and create this one file that I can give to my collection agency and have them work the account, as we don't want to deal with that anymore. Now, if you haven't watched the setup training videos, you'll want to watch that now, because at this point, this assumes, this training video, that you've got everything set up the way you want, including your statements and also any collection letters, if you want them sent through the Patient Billing Wizard electronically. So let me do this. Let me go over the brief setup steps that you want to do, kind of a very quick overview, and then you want to watch those training videos. Now, when it comes to setting up Advanced MD, the first thing you want to look at is your system defaults. Utilities to system defaults. And then over to the left-hand side under Categories, I'm going to click on the Patient Billing category and then scroll down. And the one I want to focus on here is your Preview Patient Billing Default. If you select Yes, that just means that when you click Next in your Patient Billing Wizard here, when I click Next here, I'll be able to preview all the statements that are being sent out before I actually send them out. And also, I can make some changes, like if I didn't want certain patients to get statements, I can actually place holds on them and do a little bit more work before they actually go out. And what it does is it gives me this little checkbox, Preview Patient Billing. If I say no and I click Next, in other words, no in the system defaults down below, and I click Next, all the statements go out, or they print and they're generated to paper, and I don't get a chance to hold anybody or double check just to make sure that those are the ones I want to go out. So it's probably a good idea you come to the system defaults and say yes. Close out of that. Patient Billing Wizard's still open here. Now, if you are going to be setting up collection letters, either through the Patient Billing Wizard to go out electronically, or you're still going to generate them, or you'd rather drop into paper yourself by going through the collections module, in either case, if you want collection letters for the Patient Billing Wizard or the collection module, you'll have to set up your collection letter template, which can be found under the Master Files menu down to Templates, and then over and click on Form Templates. And of course your type will be Collections, and you'll set that up accordingly. And you'll want to watch the collections training video, more specifically the collection form letter training video. So you want to make sure that's set up, and then close out. Patient Billing Wizard still open. Now the next thing you want to do is, after you set up your collection letter, is to set up your patient billing rules. And that's under the Master Files menu down to Patient Billing, and over and down to Patient Billing Rules. And over here you can see I've got a 120-day rule here where I select it. And how many statements will be sent? Well, it's not going to show in here. The patient billing rule is just to set up after so many statements have been sent. Because after we set this up, then we'll actually go set up how many statements are going to be sent before these 2 collection letters go out. So you want to watch the patient billing rules training video. So remember, my rule for this, for any patient, they'll get a soft collection letter once their oldest charge in the account hits 121 days. And then when their oldest charge in the account hits 200 days, they'll get a harsh collection letter. And then when the oldest charge in the account hits 230 days, by selecting this, you can see I'm going to write off with the code, write off bad debt with the entire account here. And then do just like it says, generate a collection agency file that I can download and edit in Excel and be able to send it off to whoever my collection agency is. So you want to watch that training video. We'll close out. And then next, after you set those up, you want to do this in order here. You want to set up your account types. So that's master files, down to patient billing, to patient account types. And we'll select the typical account that's assigned to all patients that have insurance. And what I want to focus on down here is a couple of things. First of all, statement required before write-off. They're going to be written off, and I don't want to send another statement. So I would uncheck that. And again, you can watch the training video on setting up your account types. But quickly, what I want to focus on here was, like I said in the other screen, that when I set up my billing rule, I click on the ellipsis button, and the only one I have, as you recall, is a 120-day billing rule. So after 2 statements are sent, then I want it to do the billing rule. If I type in 0 here and leave this blank and then save it, then no collection letters are going to be sent electronically, at least that is through the patient billing wizard. But I would do that manually through my collections module. Now that was just a short synopsis on quickly setting this up, so when I close out, you can feel comfortable that at least you've got it set up and ready to go to run your patient billing wizard. Now I haven't covered all the little steps that include master files to your patient billing, with setting up your patient billing hold reasons, and your statement groups is basically what address do you want on the statements. So here we go. When I select this one, I only have one. I may have 20 doctors, and of the 20 doctors, we want all the money that goes out on the statements to have patients mail us their check to Suite 205 to this one statement group. And then of course, of the 20 providers, if there's one or a few of them that don't want statements to be sent to one address here, then what you want to do is you want to click clear and then add in another group here for at least that particular provider or more. And then just be sure that after you add so many groups that you go to your master files, down to providers, and go over to your providers, and then select the providers that you wanted to tie to a different group. And there's my statement group here. I would delete that, click the button, and choose another group if Dr. Snipes wanted to be on a separate group in receiving statements from all the patients that he sees or that are tied to him. Now that you watch the training videos and setting up everything, including whether or not you want to generate your collection letters through the patient billing wizard, let's cover all the fields. First of all, we have our low and high responsible party fields. Basically, if you leave these blanks, it'll pull statements for all patients who have a statement coming. Or you can enter in the patient for low and another for high to generate statements for all patients who lie alphabetically between the 2 last names. So I could have last name of Albert and then the last name of Chuck. So A through C's here, and that's what the statements would be generated for. Of course, we went over the statement group. You can run statements by group, so if all 20 providers are tied to this group here, and that's all we have in the office is 20 providers, great. Then we don't need to worry about that. But if we have, of the 20 providers, 5 that are tied to Cottonwood Medical Center, and we want to run those statements separately, well, first we could run this one, and then just come back and then delete that, and then click on the button. And if Cottonwood was listed here, we'd double click and select that. But since this is the only one, I'll just double click on this one. Next is your billing message. You can type in a message. It will print out on this batch, for example, like Merry Christmas. And then the preview patient billing box is checked. And you get that option when you set up your system defaults to say yes, you want to preview them. Of course, you can uncheck it here and not preview them. Just click next and have them all shoot out or drop to paper in your office there. And then tied to our statements here, either running the general statements for most patients or those who are just set up on payment plans, you can have your statement formats. The default's going to be plain paper. In other words, you can check that one. You'll have McKesson Electronic here if you set that up through Advanced MD. If not, you can still do that by calling their support. And of course, I could choose plain paper and run my payment plan statements, and you can see it's still highlighted there to have my payment plans go out on paper. Now, just because I'm running my statements here doesn't mean I have to run my collection letters with this. I can leave it unchecked even though it's past due. If my collection letter said the oldest charge, after 90 days I want to send out a collection letter, it won't matter if I don't have this checked. Otherwise, if I do want to run them, I can check the box. And so in addition to my statements, if there are any that fit the patient billing rule of my collection letters after so many statements, or the aging date of the oldest charge hits, then, well, I got this queued up to now generate my collection letters as well. Also, if I feel it's about that time that I want to generate my collection agency file, that just means that after so many statements, I'll have the collection letters, and after so many collection letters, I'll have that editable Excel spreadsheet format of my collection agency file. And what I mean by that is it's downloaded in a comma-separated value format that you can open up in Excel and make changes to it. So let's leave the low and high responsible parties blank, no messages for anybody, or we could have a message. And then when I'm ready, I'll click Next.